So this is pretty much the most amazing restorative kit you can get. Let's see what's inside. All right, so after a long time of struggling with sometimes not having the right parts that I need and all the implant parts being so damn complicated, I decided to assemble this restorative kit. It comes with basically all the tools and all the bits that you'll need to restore pretty much anything ever, right? So with the new version actually that we have, it actually comes with a little legend right here that shows you what bits correspond to what systems. But essentially you have all the different bits that you need to restore all the different types of implants. So for example, right here we have the 0.50 hex. This design is used for a lot of different implant systems, including Implant Direct and Zimmer, but you see we have the short version and the long version. And each of these bits, we have a short and long for pretty much everything, right? The only one we don't have a short and long version for is the locator insertion tool, because, well, there's no point in having a short and long locator insertion tool, so we just give you one. But anyway, each of these bits fits into this driver, and this driver is fully adjustable. See, it's got all the torque settings right here. You can adjust it anywhere from infinity all the way down to 10 Newton centimeters, and you basically just adjust it by way of this little knob right here, and this changes the torque setting. All right, and they're just interchangeable like that. All of them interchange with each other. And if you wanted to do it by hand, there is this little adapter, right? It's actually the Nobel adapter. It actually goes into the little Nobel driver, but I hate that Nobel driver. It always, like, the parts are always mismatched. So I actually prefer to have these square drivers because nothing ever mismatches with these square drivers. It's just a no nonsense, really solid attachment, right? But this Nobel one, sometimes it gets all mixed up and it doesn't really latch very well sometimes. But anyway, these square attachments go in like that, and then you got yourself a hand driver, which is pretty awesome. Last thing, which actually makes this thing really robust, actually there's two more things. All of these are square drivers, so you use them by hand. But if there's ever the situation where you don't really have that much restorative clearance and you can't really fit this whole thing in there, or this, you know, this wrench in there, there's a lot of stuff to put in their mouth, you can just put this little bit, this latch tip bit, into on your handpiece and use that in the patient's mouth, and this will tighten or untighten in the patient's mouth with your handpiece. I've only had to do that a handful of times for patients who really don't have restorative clearance, but it does help. And so I provided a 0.50 hex for just that situation, just because it's the most versatile one. All right, the last thing that is in here is this right here. So these are basically your bailout tools. So what you need to bail yourself out if you ever get a screw stripped or stuck, right? So this is the drill that you use. So you actually drill into the screw with this, and then you use this little tap right here. So this guy will carve some threads into that screw head that got stripped or messed up, and it will back it out. So these two things are super, super helpful. And if that weren't enough, a last bailout option is, let me put these guys back. A final bailout option is this little slot driver. So this isn't actually for to go into implant prosthetic heads, right? It doesn't really go into the screw heads, but it is a great bailout option. So if you ever did have a screw that wasn't coming out, usually you can take care of it with these two guys, but you can also take care of it with this. So for instance, if you have a locator abutment and the patient's like gnawed that thing down and it's all stripped out, you can actually just take a little quarter round burr, make a slot in it, and then just use this little burr right here, or you can use this little bit right here, stick it in there and twist it out. So this comes in handy for bailouts as well. So overall, this kit is pretty much the most versatile restorative kit that I can imagine. That was the point of, well, that's the point of the Ninja restorative kit, right? You can basically be ready for anything. So super awesome. I hope you think it's awesome too, and I'm excited for you to get one.